What is up, Scrub fam? I am back with the deck profile. I'm wearing my Sriracha shirt because we're feeling spicy. If you haven't seen my video from earlier today that was posted on the Facebook group, I did some things, I said some stuff, people made comments, people were hurt, people weren't hurt, people cried, people laughed. It was great. It was a great post. I really enjoyed it. And someone made a comment about like, hey, you should make deck profiles that teach us how to counter things and whatnot that are like different. And so this is actually a deck that I've been brewing for a while, and it is different, and it is really meant to be a counter deck. So this is actually a deck that's supposed to counter U7 Frieza. And the best way to do that is by playing a yellow leader. But I wanted to make some things up. I wanted to play some different different cards. And so this deck is proven in testing to have a really good win percentage against Universe 7 Frieza. And at the same time, also performs well against a lot of aggressive strategies because it has a really easy way to keep itself alive as well as maintain hand advantage because of the way the leader always draws a card when it swings. So you can, at the same time, put pressure on the opponent, but then you can also be really defensive with the deck and then end up netting yourself a lot of equity across the course of the game, and you can play your bombs late game. So this deck is a lot of fun to play. I do enjoy it. But anyway, let's jump into our deck profile. Here we go. This is Jiren. Red-Yellow Jiren control. So the reason why this is a control deck is because the fact that this deck, it's really not trying to push the pace on the opponent. The only thing that you're ever going to do that's going to be pushing the pace is you're going to be swimming with your leader because you need to draw a card on your turn so you can start to get through the deck. But what this deck is really doing is it wants to play a lot of stifling cards. So that's why you notice the 4 Crusher Ball, that's why you notice 4 Kakade Zone, that's why you notice some Nimbus Clouds, and then we're maxed out on 4 Explosive Spirits, 4 Secret Vitality Jiren. So these cards are absolutely insane together. Because, like, yeah, they provide a similar function, but they also synergize with, a lot of our counter cards. So 4 Crusher Balls, 4 Kakade Zone. And so whenever you're playing against an aggressive deck, if they ever attack with multiple creatures, you'll then be able to play a Secret Vitality Jiren to wipe their board. It's pretty gross. So, like, these cards are only really weak against barrier cards, which it really depends on what your metagame looks like at your local shop. If you have a lot of barrier cards in your local shop, such as, like, a ton of ape decks, this isn't the best deck for that, but this deck has a way to do that. Like, play that matchup. You'll want to, again, kind of force your way to get to the top of the curve with the 5 and 7 drop Frieza, but really, you're just trying to stifle your opponent. Any aggressive strategy, this deck is just meant to stifle them, and so it uses Crusher Ball, it uses Kakade Zone, and then it uses Explosive Spirit and Secret Vitality Jiren to clean up the board, and then once you get to your turn 3 and beyond, so once you get to turn 4, 5, 6, you then have access to 4 foreseeing hits. So you play this card and you disrupt your opponent completely. So the reason why this deck is really good at countering U7 Frieza is, number one, if you look at U7 Frieza's construction, there's not a lot of creatures that come out early, so there's not a lot of battle cards that come out early. Everything is going to be towards the later part of the game, and so by the time you get to the later part of the game, you already have your 4 Crusher Balls, your Kakade Zones, and then you already have your foreseeing hits online. So hit is a great card for this deck because it does exactly what you want it to do. It looks at your opponent's hand, and again, it stifles them because you have to look at your opponent's hand, strip 2 cards, and you rip the combo pieces out of their hand that turn, or you rip any removal out of their hand that turn, and then in turn you have a body that can pressure the opponent's leader. So this deck is great at countering stuff like U7 Frieza because of the fact that, number one, we have disruption, early game, mid game, and late game, and number two, we run foreseeing hits, so we can strip those combo pieces out of their hand. And the way we set up our red package, you guys are going to question it, but I run Surprise Attack Majin Buu and Majin Buu full of energy. Reason why is because you need the U7 cards for your Frieza evolve. That's one thing. But at the same time, I love that playing a Surprise Attack Majin Buu can fetch me a Majin Buu full of energy. So whether if I want to play the full of energy or if I just want to charge it so I have my my second red energy down by turn 4, then you're good to go. You have everything that you want to do. You're set up, you're set up, and you're ready to go. And so that's why I like to play those cards in this deck. So they have the benefit of being Universe 7, but they also have the benefit of, like I say, being energy. And then additionally, Majin Buu full of energy can awaken you, which is really important. There's another reason why you play Jiren as the leader in this deck, so besides from getting access to Kakade Zone and Secret Vitality Jiren. The main reason why is because when you flip, you untap 2. So you can play your 5-drop Frieza on the turn that you're about to awaken, flip your leader over, untap 2, then evolve directly into Frieza Emperor Universe 7, and you're good to go. Another thing that's cool about this deck, like I talked a lot about like stifling your opponent, is even if you are playing against a deck with barrier, you can drop your Cold Hearted Strike Frieza, pitch a Universe 7 card, and you end up tapping down 2 of their barrier creatures, whether if they're the ones with blocker or whatnot, and then you evolve into your Universe 7, and you're good to go. And that's really powerful because anytime you're playing against something like Apes, if they want to use the Planet Vegeta auto to untap at the end of turn, then they have to pay a life for it. If they're playing SS3 and they want to untap at the end of turn, they have to pay a life for it because it's an auto that's not actually on the leader's ability. So that's actually incredible. So this deck, like I said, it's really meant to stifle a lot of the aggro decks and mid-range decks because of the fact that it can just kind of take advantage of them, and then also fits into the wheelhouse of being able to counter Universe 7 Frieza. That's my dog Jackson doing some internal sneezing. You good? He's okay. But anyway, so this is a very quick deck profile about red-yellow Jiren control. Again, I don't think this is a tier 1 deck at all, but I do think that this deck is really neat, really cool, and it starts getting us to think about how control decks should play, and we're noticing that a lot of really good yellow cards, like Kakade Zone, is such a great control card. I hate that it's locked to just Universe 11 leaders, but as more of those come out, the card's just going to continue to get better and better because it's legitimately one of the best negates in the game because it can just shut down your opponent's entire turn. Anytime your opponent doesn't have a barrier creature out, Kakade Zone just does work. So let's say they play their big threat first before they actually swing with the leader, and they swing with the leader, you negate, and you tap their big threat down for the turn. And then on your turn, coming back to you, you just play an Explosive Spirit Son Goku, kill it, it's gone. And then now they've lost all that energy they invested. They lost all those cards they invested. You're just straight up good to go. Don't have to worry about it. And then additionally, we have 4 Dispo. This was 4 Roshis, but I realized that with 4, 8, 12, 16 Universe 7 cards, I didn't need to play the Roshis, and I didn't need just a straight-up negate. I'd rather have a card like Swift Warrior Dispo to combine with Secret Vitality Jiren, so then on the back, whenever you awaken, you then get to untap these 2 at the end of the turn for value. So you can basically swing with Jiren, swing with Dispo, pass turn, both these untap, and then you can either combo with them or you have them set up for next turn, so you can really put pressure on your opponent as you get to the later parts of the game, especially once you set up your lock with Cold Hearted Strike Frieza and Frieza Emperor Universe 7. And that's another thing I wanted to do with this deck. Another thing I wanted to push with this deck was I wanted to give people the ability to play Universe 7 Frieza, the SR, outside of the Universe 7 deck and outside of a leader that's playing stuff like Shigesh or like a Bloodlust leader. And Jiren really fits that mold because, like I said before, like this deck really just wants to live and it just really wants to stifle your opponent. So I wouldn't necessarily call this like a harsh control deck, but stifle is probably the word. So in this game, it's probably going to be the thing that catches on, but this is 100% a stifle deck. You're just trying to stifle your opponent's game plan. You're trying to hold them back. You're trying to make sure that, they don't hit critical mass and you just stop them. That's why this deck is so good against veggies, is because Kakade Zone completely shuts them down, and then you just go into a Secret Vitality Jiren and they have to have the Bloodlust. They have to. If they don't have the Bloodlust, then you can still set it up and do it again next turn if they attack with multiple battle cards. So it's pretty insane what this deck can do. Like, it's really powerful. And so I've enjoyed playing it a lot so far against the key decks in the format. I want to play more games with it and continue to test it and push it to see where it goes. We have Atlantic City coming up. This isn't something that I'm probably going to play in the event at all. But what I am looking to play in the event is probably going to be something like Universe 7 Frieza, but not the Victory Strike version of it. Or it's going to be something like SS3 Red-Yellow, because Red-Yellow is a really good strategy right now. As you can see by this deck, Red-Yellow just to play all the best cards. And so I really like red-yellow aggro going into this event at Atlantic City. But anyways, this has been a deck profile. This is red-yellow Jiren control. This is meant to be your counter deck to Universe 7 Frieza. You guys will probably shame me to death for this deck profile because you're going to be like, oh, dude, you made that thing saying that, Dusty's, content was trash, but then you make this, trash deck. Well, I can tell you the deck's not trash. Pat O'Neill has actually played against this deck multiple times, and he can tell you how powerful this deck actually is, how strong this deck is, and the way this deck kind of just combats a lot of the things that exist in the format currently. And like I said, it's a different take, a different spin on things. I really wanted to lighten things up because I've been going really spike heavy with my decks lately, and I want to do something a little bit more fun for you guys. But again, thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you so much for your support. Seriously, I couldn't do this without the amazing community behind me, from my video post today, from my 13 Reasons Why video to my 13 Reasons Why You Should Play the Game videos. You guys have just been amazing and active and always providing content and harsh criticism if I need it, or just in general just being there, just talking to me about the game or just putting input or telling me what cards should go in different decks that you feel. So say that you build a deck and you change it, or say I'm missing enough of a color in a deck. Take these lists, fine-tune them, make them your own, have fun with them. This deck I've had a ton of fun with, I've enjoyed playing, and I think that this deck actually has a weird place in the metagame. And I think that decks like this down the road will also have a weird place in the metagame. Speaking of which, my favorite cards from this set revealed so far are the blue cards. Hyrule is gross, or Hyrule. I'm just gonna call him Hyrule. I'm just gonna cut out the last part of his name. Hyrule is dope. It's the closest thing we're going to have to control going forward. It's the one color that I'm probably going to buy from set 4 going forward. It's the one deck I'm straight going to build right as soon as this set comes out. It's the only thing that has me really excited right now about set 4. Everything else is really kind of a disappointment, especially because we only have one counterplay card. But guess what? It's in blue and it's with Hyrule. But anyway, thank you guys so much again. Check out BeardedCollectibles.com if you need to get your sealed product for set 4 and beyond. Also, if you want to pick up your Bearded gear, your Thrift Tree Productions gear, make sure you visit BeardedCollectibles.com. Get yourself some product. Deal with the best shop owner on the planet, best sponsor in the world, always there for me. He's got me. He's got my back no matter what we do. I'll see you guys at Gen Con. I'll see you guys at Atlantic City. We got a lot of events coming up. Thank you guys again so much for everything. Okay, bye!